Okay, let's see if the sound is on now. Should be. Wow. Yes. Okay. Hmm. So I hope that technical difficulties are behind us, but nothing is really going according to plan today. We'll see if um, so. mm, Okay, let's try for the fourth time already. My name is Julia. I'm head of Clever online school, where we work with students starting from 14 years old, and where we help students to not only gain knowledge but prepare for a future that is full of uncertainty. And we decided to make this webinar for parents in the beginning of the summer, because usually during summer, and especially in the middle of June, we start to get a lot of questions from both students and parents regarding university choices. And it's very common because usually during summer, both students and parents have opportunity and time to discuss ideas, opinions on universities, check some websites, and maybe even visit some of the universities if there is any opportunity. And some universities have open doors in the end of June or in the end of August, for example, sometimes in the beginning of September, and so on and so forth. That's why we wanted to record this webinar so the parents could refer to the recording to see what is important to notice when you look at the university's pages and when you talk to your student regarding the university choices. And yeah, so this recording will be available by the time when you decide to look at this new step in a life of a student in your family. And when I say, or when I state in the name of this webinar that school is not enough, it doesn't mean that I am against schools and against school system. Of course not. We all understand that school is a crucial part in each student's development and child development, teenager development, because school provides infrastructure for social relations that start at that age and that can last during the whole life of the student. But when we talk about universities, and I will show it later during the presentation and during my talk, school is just not enough to prepare child and future young professional for the future that is full of uncertainty, or the challenges that await them after they get their last exams results, and for the big life outside of the school walls. So we will discuss what actually needs to be added to a school education, what parents and whole family should look at during the preparation to the next step of a student's life, transition from school to university, and what struggles all families usually face. So if you faced any of the struggles already, or you understand that you maybe face these struggles in future, please let me know. And I'm always up to any conversations in the chat. Feel free to use it. I will answer your questions. I'm here to answer it today. So don't be shy to start communication with me. And with that, let's go to the content. So basically, we have a question: when do parents start to think about university choice for their child? This question might be answered in two ways, because we have ideal scenario and real world scenario with its difficulties, struggles, and sometimes unexpected events arriving in the life of the family and particular student. So in the ideal scenario, parents and students start research in junior year of high school, usually the year of ninth grade, right after child finished primary education, primary school, and this first step of education. Usually, if we talk about international education, it is the first year of IGCSE exams, which is General Certificate of Education, taken in international systems by the end of grade 10. So the end of grade 10 is the time when students already took some exams and got some results and general certificate. But the preferred time to start thinking about university choice is grade 9, a year before IGCSE exams. And of course, in the ideal world, we can say, yeah, sure, good enough. 14 years old, let's start to think what you want to do after you finish school. But in reality, that is far from the truth, because usually nobody knows what they want to do in their life after 5, 6, 8 years of teenagehood that still awaits them. Nobody knows what they want to do when they grow up and become young adults. So it is challenging. It is challenging to start this conversation, and it might feel for both parents and students as additional pressure, like we already ask our students to think about their future vector and so on and so forth. So here is the first struggle that may happen if this conversation is in the agenda in the beginning of grade 9, first year of IGCSE exams, general certificate exams. But mostly, what I experience in my work, parents and students start to think about future university choice in the optimistic scenario in the junior grade of pre-university level, which is grade 11, or even in the beginning of grade 12. So students only had 1 year before they apply to university if they don't choose to take a gap year. And if they do, then it's only 1 year. If they don't choose a gap year, then it's only 1 year left before the university application and this our X, let's call it this way. So this is the first struggle. Parents might find themselves in a situation when it's only 1 year left and they still don't know what to do and what university program the student might take. This happens quite often. Then, in ideal scenario, students visits several campuses, looks at universities, visits open doors events, and makes informed decisions about the university choice after the visit. In reality, I see a lot of our students in our on-site school. They are so overwhelmed by the curricula, by the subjects they need to get knowledge about, and then write tests, write mock exams, write everything. They usually don't have either time or focus, and sometimes both of them, to visit campuses, join virtual events, ask questions, because it is basically not in their agenda. They are focused on good exams results. And I can understand them, to be honest. So if they are not reminded to check for university events, to check for open doors, to keep this university choice in their mind, then it's very easy to let it out of focus and only think about this decision in April, in the end of grade 12, before A levels exams, like pre-university exams. So it is easy. And in real world scenarios, it usually happens this way. Then again, if we go further, usually it is enough time to prepare for exams and for organizational issues, like what is the application look like, what documents I need to prepare, and everything. In real world scenarios, students may, for example, re-choose exams. They started in the IT track, but then they understood after 2 years of following IT curricula that IT is actually not for them, and maybe they would prefer business or sciences like natural sciences, biology, chemistry, or something else. So basically, a lot of unexpected events may appear, and student at this moment may re-choose exams, so we'll have less time to prepare for the final exam, or may just feel like it is again not in their agenda to think about exams because they have friends, interests, hobbies, video games, everything they want to dedicate time to instead of dedicating time to the exams. In ideal world, parents provide necessary support and help students dealing with stress that is related to the exams and everything. But in real world scenarios, I often see students who are stressed about the exams, not only because of their own stress, but also because parents are worried. And this is completely understandable to be worried about kids' future. And this worrying about them creates additional pressure that may influence student motivation or their attitudes to studies or their impression on the let's call it importance of this choice. Like university choice is often seen by students as the most important choice in their life. So if they don't choose now, everything is ruined. It is like what they usually tell me when we talk, which is well, let's be honest, not to this extent important. So in real world scenarios, this creates additional pressure that may influence the results of the student on the exams and then further in life. So basically, this is the situation. We are never in the ideal world. And of course, many parents fortunately try to help their students to be prepared for university choice, to remind them about the importance of choosing the university, to help them choose the track, the program, and so on and so forth. But here comes another difficulty because there are a lot of questions. And sometimes I have been talking to one of the parents and I heard from him, a father of one of our students, in the beginning of our communication, he told me that I feel like uh, I am climbing the rock, but without necessary equipment. So yeah, it may feel like that when family comes to the university choice because there are a lot of questions. Like they fall each moment when you start thinking about that. What if my child chooses unwisely? Because now, for example, some children want to choose a professional development in video games because they love video games. So they want to go to this industry and this may provoke some discussions within the family or some questions about more rounded professions that the students might take but they are not interested in. Or again, a lot of professions now and a lot of disturbing news arrive from the job market. So it is quite common among all of us to think, what if the profession we consider for the student is eliminated by AI in 3 years? What if there will be no, let's say, brand managers because AI will start to re uh, yeah, to remove brand managers like junior brand managers from their positions or any other professions. Basically, you can put any professions here, and it may be replaced by AI. So what if we choose, and in 3 years our student is not needed on the job market? Then there is also, of course, a question: how does this university system even work? Because again, if the family doesn't have a close friend who works in university or in admissions committee, then they basically have no insight on how this system works. And it's totally fine not to know how universities work because if you are a parent of 15 years old, that might mean that your own education, bachelor education, took place around 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and so on. Uh, and universities were different back then. What are universities here and now in our rapidly changing world is an open question for those who work outside of the university system. So lack of insight is a very common problem that I hear from parents when we are talking to them. And last but not least, if the child chooses to study abroad, then more questions arise. What difficulties await them? How even we can do that? Are the certificates recognizable or acknowledgeable? Do we need any additional certificates? Anything. Like a whole bunch of new questions await here. And usually, parents try to ask for advice either from friends who already had their kids enrolled in universities or from school. Again, if the school has some university counseling or professional guidance, then uh, parents and students may ask these professionals. But most commonly, it is only several people who we may ask advice from, and these people usually are partially experts in education, And even if it is a university counseling or professional guidance specialist in the school, there is a chance that this professional never worked in university or worked again like 10 years ago and doesn't have actual insights about the universities nowadays. So basically, it means that uh, there is lack of people in the surroundings to ask about universities, to get some insights and to get information from the first hand. And parents, majority of parents are not experts in education, especially in high school, in high education like universities, and they do not need to be experts. So if school does not provide necessary guidance and relevant advice, then it's a good option to ask for expertise, external expertise. And again, if school has this, it is good. But most commonly, what I hear from parents of students who transfer to our online school is that the teachers in their schools were so overwhelmed by the amount of work, by the amount of classes they needed to provide, by the amount of administrative tasks they needed to accomplish during their working hours, that they literally had no time to sit with the particular student case and help them solve this situation and find a proper way to again choose the program, properly apply to the program, choose wisely the university, the country of studies if they want to study abroad, and so on and so on. And this again is why I personally think that school is not enough and other educational organizations should be included in the ecosystem that surrounds family. And if parents have opportunity to include these external expertise, it's always good and it helps students to not only wisely choose the programs and universities, but also to at least a little bit make an amount of stress a little bit less during these school years, especially last two school years, grade 11 and grade 12, because the stress levels are highest there, and it may affect again performance, well-being, psychological state, and future motivations too. So what I would, one thing that I would highlight as an expert who worked both in university and in high school education, and what I see the difference between these two institutions that might be overlooked if the person doesn't have years of experience in both systems, is actually this: that if we look at the school level, it seems that schools' aim and goal is to prepare a good student, is to make a good student because, well, let's be honest, good student is um, comfortable for the school. Good student doesn't bring problems to teachers. Good student has good grades, so it affects the statistics of the school. Good student represents the school on some contests, academic contests, and makes reputation of the school better, and so on and so forth. So school is mostly interested in preparing or making out of teenager a good student. While university, when a student applies to university and becomes an applicant in the admission committee, waits for future professional. And they already look at the applicant who sits in front of them or whose resume, motivation letter, or documents they look through. They look at them from the lens of future professional. If this person can become good future professionals so we could improve their skills during the years of study and be proud of them when they enter the job market. And this gap is what always or most often is overlooked because basically what school waits from the students and what university waits from the students are sometimes two different things. And school wants good grades, while university wants skills, expertise, decision making responsibilities, and many other things that sometimes are not in the school curricula. And well, if school is fortunate with teachers or some particular teacher, then this teacher will lead this work. But it is a matter of chance, not the systematic thing to have a dedicated teacher who will think about something other than the curricula that students need to go through. And again, if we look at what universities await, we should look at the job market. So what is needed on the job market, because universities want to make from future professionals, young professionals who will enter the job market, sometimes even before their bachelor program has finished, because students can work and make internships starting from year one in the university. So, what is in demand on the job market? Here we can take World Economic Forum Future of Job Report, Future of Jobs report, and see what are the key skills that usually are demanded by the companies. And we can see that, well, okay, if we check it and look at the big topics, then we can define three. First one is the ability to deal with technologies. And again, technologies might be different, big data, cloud computing, AI, any other technologies. And if we again look at the school curricula, not many schools implement technology in their curricula aside from ICT lessons or computer science lessons and so on. Because again, students are always, teenagers are always in their gadgets. It makes them more difficult to focus on the study content. So usually schools try to eliminate gadgets from the lessons and keep gadgets outside of the classroom. So basically, if school follows uh, this traditional approach to gadgets and tries to create gadget-free environment, they of course aim for good things to keep focus, to help students like help students not to develop technology addiction and so on, but they also make students' life more difficult in future because they will need to deal with technologies in their life constantly after the school. So technology related skills are needed and most probably in the school, if schools follow traditional approach, they are not developed. Then reasoning and decision making. Decision making is one of the skills that, according to the research, will be least automated sphere in business processes because uh, it is quite easy to assess all options. It is very difficult to say that I'm responsible for the decision made. And basically, we still, I think it will be like this 3, 4, 5, and maybe even 10 years from now. We still need people instead of artificial intelligence to be responsible for the decision and to argue for this decision, even if the decision itself was prepared by artificial intelligence. And what school does in this moment, usually all decisions are pretty much made for the student and the decision of the exam choices, okay, might be, but in ordinary lessons, usually students have a task and they follow the algorithm of doing the task and delivering the results. And there is no decision making included, no responsibility included, no uh, lack of tasks that may improve other skills rather than just solving the problems that will help to get good grades during the exams. And what report says about key skills, these are cognitive skills, creative thinking, analytical thinking, and soft skills, leadership and social influence, communication skills, and so on and so forth. And again, if student is fortunate with the school, then most probably school has at least some extracurricular activities to develop these skills, these meta competencies, and technology related again skills and knowledge. If student is unfortunate, then might have like pretty much zero soft skills after school or decision making skills after school if there is nothing else aside from the school. So basically, this is it about the professionals of the future. Let me check the chat if there are any questions because the topic might provoke some, let's be honest. So if there are any questions, please write them in the chat. If there is no questions for now, tap plus in the chat and I will go further. So we will look in summary what is needed, how to approach development of these needed components for the university and how to choose the university and program in the end if you're interested in that. So I will wait for several minutes just because I know that the streamings are usually delayed in time. Mm-hmm. So if there are any questions for now, please type them in the chat. If not, then let's go and see the summary and the draft of the plan how to prepare students for university choice and what parents can do in this situation. Okay, so to summarize what we have been talking about, who is the professional of the future? Flexible person, mindful learner, the person who can make decisions, and the team player. And again, if we talk about flexibility and about mindful learning, this is not what school usually offers in the curricula because basically every teacher tries to help students to acquire knowledge about, let's say, physics or mathematics or literature, history, psychology. But it is usually outside of curricula to think and to reflect about the aims of learning process, about motivation to learn, about the individual learning strategy and all these little issues that might affect interest in the subject in general. So usually students are taught the content of the course, but uh, regarding help to become mindful learner, this may lack in traditional school environments because again, it is common and it is completely logical to have idea about the exams and grades after the exams. So this is the main goal that school usually follows, and all the others are a little bit outside of the focus. And again, teachers usually are overwhelmed by the amount of work they have, so they cannot invest additional efforts in promoting flexibility and mindful learning strategies and other skills. I would say that team playing is one of the skills that usually is to some extent developed at schools because some schools use team tasks to achieve results during the lessons. But again, these tasks usually help students to get experience in teamwork, but the teamwork itself is not in the agenda. So nobody usually teaches how to work in teams, how to solve conflicts, how to negotiate on team rules, how to communicate among the team members, shared responsibility, and a lot of little issues that can be important and that will be important when students finish the school, finish the university, and enter the job market to start working with the real world tasks and challenges. So again, this is professional of the future is what universities usually look at when they start to work with the applicants. They try to assess which applicant has not only academic knowledge but also skills or some other evidence that they will be proactive, they will be world changers. They will be good team players. They will be the ones who university can put on the proud table and say, yeah, these alumni is one of our best students and we are really proud of them. Uh, and again, there is the gap between this professional of the future that university awaits for and just a good student that school usually aims to produce or to make our teenager by the end of the school. So here it is. And if we go further to decompose what I have just said, it will be these four basic big components. First is learning skills, how to learn, how to support motivation, how to self-manage your time and resource, especially cognitive resource during the learning. Then there will be two types of skills, soft skills and cognitive skills that are in need and that will again influence how students start to learn in the university where the opportunities are much wider than in school. Of course, there also usually are subject related skills or topic related skills. So if the student goes to engineering program, for example, then of course engineering skills, junior engineering skills are needed here. But aside from that, as if it is not already enough and quite a lot, there is also junior expertise. So I remember when I was in the admissions committee in the university, I always noticed when students had some agency, applicants, future students, when they had some agency, when they came with some projects that they already made during their school year, when they showed their interests, when they showed their motivations in life, when they showed what they want to change in this world when they grow older and start their professional journey. So junior expertise is hands-on project experience or some other real life experience to show that student is active. These applicants did not only sit in their room studying for the good grades in the exam, but also was interested about the world outside of this room, outside of the school grades, outside of um, school walls and academic performance. Because again, universities try to look for those who will change the sphere, the industry for the better. And this is one of the key insights that they can get during the first application process and application procedure to see, okay, yeah, this person is interested in what they are doing. Most probably they already understand what this industry is about, so we can take them with less risk for us that the student chose the professional track unwisely. And this is it. So again, if we talk what to add aside from school, because school is not enough, it is the plan to develop learning skills, plan to develop soft skills and cognitive skills, and some plan to get first junior expertise in the topic that student wants to explore further in the university. And after that, which sounds like a big work, of course, that increases the chances of a student not only to successfully get into the university of their dream or choice, but also to become a happier young adult, happier young professional, and increase their well-being in future. And if we talk about the profession, it is like example what we do in Clever when we help students to choose the track. It is the glimpse of our personality audit that we provide to our students when they enroll. And again, it is an addition to school approach. So we usually focus not only on subject matter expertise, but on social skills and teamwork, thinking and cognitive skills, self-management skills, and literacy, which is digital and media literacy and other types of literacy that are important for each young professional that universities await during the admission process. So this is the core. If you are interested in particular questions, please let me know in the chat, and I am happy to answer. I'm happy to guide you further through the process, what to look at if you're interested at what to look at when you choose the university. Then let me know in the chat and I will continue. And if no questions for now, then when you registered for the webinar, you should have got a link to free consultation where you could discuss your particular case with your family, your students in your family. And if you feel like there are some questions that you would like to discuss in more personal environments, not on the YouTube stream, feel free to use this link, and I will be really happy to continue this discussion with you in our consultations. So I'm waiting for questions in the chat, just in case. And if there are no questions, at least for now, I am hugely grateful to those of you who joined this stream, regardless our technical difficulties that I had today to start it. I hope that next time it will be less unfortunate day for the streaming. And let's keep in touch. Let's communicate via emails. If you have questions, feel free to ask them in emails, or feel free to book consultation to discuss your particular situation. So yeah, thanks a lot once again. And I hope this was helpful, and this will provide you some insights about students in your family and their future university choices.